started on media.
Oh, me
against the old and a tray in Yansembi, MPP.
Okay.
Okwa Ashanti regional. A Juma Kufuado Abaya ye roads. O Fabiso when you better attends you. She says he dinner tem. I didn't hear.
Is it because you to me more who the run as a dear? Because
MPP, the obey my employer mawing. O can you do at them? MPP. You bet me a year. O can we are making we travel signs so I no correct. O do pa check NDC. MPP nkwani ye call rally. Nipa be 10,000 go a form ATUMPAN. Se nipa 150 na high table so obi an kan bi. Enti e first 1 minute ya ye kukuru do na tenase. No atenase. Ba pa NDC. They will pick nipa be 5. Especially woman kora ne nim kasa woman no den no. Near the muffler gunu ko. No kasa 30 minutes. It is a live on radio. So I can cruise or bow. Nipa na ba ubi tibiko.
Otugum sa.
Share NDC. Sebe minu anu kuma bi te say Phyllis Kwachenom, Sami Jemfinom, Otukono nom hwewomo. Enkra no man no den. Obi te say Honorable Haruna nom. Even Parliament, what they have hwewomo. Those days, no,
yeah.
8th Parliament. Your BBC be at John Jinapo, Atoforsen, Mutala, late, may he so rest in peace. Saumutim, no. You do say do budget in idea. They will parade them first and they will speak. Is that how ours is? I'm not saying we are not doing well.
Does it mean
when your parliament has some culture.
Okay.
Parliament, your leadership, they are doing well. Honestly, minti make so many idea. Especially what we are faced with 8th Parliament and in but they make us MPP as an organization. We need to review the management framework of how we manage our configuration of key resources and core competences.
A leadership and
nipa ba ku bi asem ye culture. Sana me hu organizational culture e dysfunctional. Say ohun ba bi a oti de wuyi. Who the master car went to me.
Okay.
The menu to lefty. Where the man went to me. Meritocracy is key. And so kakro bi do atam.
Ba ko for be jiaboso.
Ebinum sha da pretend this no more content. And also obi penasem ti no promote no ojeje ne so yem organizational game no in terms of getting competitive edge. And yes anye no. If we are see a Kobo Black Star Ghana for ye nipa be 34 million by ye 11 be to bench. So what tiny nipa no. So one time no an experience.
I need to beat me here.
Exactly. Because communication here, it's not only when you can speak well and you know correct. How you can manage it to get a cascading effect. How you can manage it to influence various segments along our social stratification. Teacher for say no between my first assembly. Minuanum kayo for region be kra na ye o target.
Okay.
Station be na wo so. One any would debate assembly and worker. Assembly or here entertainment, here emotions. Assembly here. Ever say me, have you seen me on news file being emotional? Never. Have you seen me on TV3 being that emotional? No. But if you are me AsaasePa and I'm a man FM, I do that for a purpose. Because there are people who TM Kura no one know the room so DNA. There are people out TM Amoah. We need a strategy.
Just who identify and crowd.
And this who didn't talk and publish. This year, the President Mahama. Nye bibia as ye bonabaso. And when ye boneso on your condemning. Me apart from the injustice echoes or memo. Because when you enter nolly prosecute, na on crofwa or more court. Sana small do nye do se mo aban me de minni I'm not interested in say media se me ye jamu nyina na wo chi obi nkrofo a se wo be a maslog boss won kra de adi na sem wadwane Yedina se mabua no bijan. Obi on the eni na se mumpo. And no de aban ya enye because ya ka social justice. It's one of the key principles any democratic country na eye papa no e wo future no. That adherence is very key. But what they not to China economy any development near there have been be a first year on your match. And you might enjoy economically a MPP by last quarter.
Right. And Yaman Rams is
me to us but me the man who since why we do NDC for to manage information, you know, and everybody is praising them. And how they manage, how they build relationship with the relevant stakeholders, the media and others. And a woman so one a casa on that issue. Who speaks?
Doctor, I know because communicators are probably feed you more with the right information.
And I'm saying they make count as you. And people were good communicators. But you can have the best players in the world, but you can have the most inefficient team or ineffective team. If you fail to do proper arrangement, if you fail to recognize meritocracy, if you fail to recognize experience, whether I'm a good communicator or not, people know.
Yeah.
It's not only me, there are people who are even better than me. But he will be, I can say, 30 years. Any President Mahama, no, you TV, so Satana, Sempanu, you know, Mayo. Be seen there, we haven't given up. In terms of Umumesia, and Yaman Kwama Seven, in terms of Nipa Agumas and Umumesia Quechi, in terms of understanding the NDC no more propaganda, because NDC no, they believe in communist inferior tactics.
Yeah.
It won't even manage in some way, and they can let the information flow. No, I agree with them. Hey, look at what they did when it comes to LGBT. Any more yefa galamsi ho omba umatima manage changing crofo psyche say as a fake crowd enye anything that needs national
attention
national national state of what
emergency
state emergency state of emergency or state emergency sorry is how you deal with your relevant stakeholders, how you build a psychological contract between them. About what you say?
Yeah.
Yet, we be cancel papa nyina and the media no apiki bibi ye fake. Adia wan campo. And adia bi na wudi agro mpo no ma hype no. Wow, party people will dwell on that and attack you because omo pese we asi hu se wo unye obia. Meanwhile they know say you know better than them, you understand it.
I don't see that they cause one people.
And yes, oh man kasa and ye nyina e we asi e wo no. You cannot eat your cake and have it. The way we are say ye second term of MPP. Kanya hone atenia idi nanado ni yenyina. Menka say nanado was perfect. They make out to
AsaasePa.
When in the history of this country, any ka say Ghana for ntena fi betu omoka. It happened under nanado. ABC a few months. O man check it. A few months no, the whole Ghana public service or civil servants or abejuma for. But after almost 18 months, they run a shift in this country. Say nipa 10 5 go 2 weeks, na 5 go 2 weeks. But they were being paid. Private sector nipa over 40,000 a day. Emma pay ni corporate taxes ni nyina ni enya. Enti sa afinum no yenya revenue shortfall of about 12 billion. Or minor at Twajinjim. Minkasa na yabain perfectly well. Of course, Ghana, we've been having challenges with our expenditure. May me see a country may me describing as negative effective tax rate economy.
Brebio.
You can negative effective tax rate economy. Yesika semno. Debia would me same up. Sika yejina fibiano. Bosianka hono. Ye cheme fie bia mua. De fie bia benyano. Esasin sika abain. Sabi or spending and our expending. Sika buy
that means you decline the enya.
Nti ya de be ho kire. Otiase. But a situation where we are seeing nyina say and we are saying so say no. We are not practicing absolute independent economy. Your sovereignty no, we still depend on other countries. Where them where we BB ekra. We okra can be do atem. Asim we. Me kan NDC timi she de twa ho edi matama ba oni mi say me kasa cha me hyper
yeah
So omo pick extra tibia. Now heard the way my hyper make asana no be do not even MPP for na bi mpo. Obi a na opese eye na yase ekasa onipa wo ya ade o we onimade o ana okasa yo ana we say into they all things internally no opese o sell because you bet my carve picture be of you
the same organization
no say one dey no ye gentle one no ye all these things are fit. I will say MPP you see sir no matter who wins the elections I will say you take Ghana for ase he oton ade o first yes I wo hwe e demand no say ni be sin crofo pesa ade no ye wade bi irregular nipa hia dada oton aduane nipa hia aduane da nipa hia duro da nipa hia clothes da ana clothes whatever fine any on maybe irregular say
e wo ha na nipa na yeah
and ade bi we seasonal e wo mreba I feel we are encrofo chrono market niche and our target market encrofo na wo to amu no sebe e is legon for ana e kotuba before ana e segefo ana pese o kati across enti obi o ha o dwom mote ne ma banchi emo for na asa now so there
why gentle to
oh now banchi so na papa o because nkrofo okudwom no banchi no be ko ho enti e ka bi pragmatism is not whereby even when you're supposed to spit fire you drink water. And you know correct. Pragmatism is applying the needed, relevant, specific tool to a prevailing problem. Meaning that they make out into toda obi I can sit here. You need to do the right thing. I'm just giving all this scenario because we have a country that we can build the same models and change the status quo and make sure that we change the lives of the people. You know, you got to make sure that you build a situation. I hope you understand.
Yes.
I can be very calm and no interest and make us new. But maybe there are places, maybe too quite a lot to go and speak outside. Me too me. You can take us send you be funny be enfa me. Me kwa approach ni bia me abrof your group na me kasa. Me kasa the way bia me kasa wa
ha. Approach very different.
Exactly. So somebody who is pragmatic, you be a oko market to baby marketer and adenta marketer. The behavior
very different from what by East
different from so by East Legon.
Okay.
Maybe even East Legon and Trasaco might be different. Enti Nhyiaeso ade na the same party yenye nim say ade we nipa we ye good. He has control. He understands this. I also understand this than this. Ye nyina mfa ye differences no emre together. Ni build a very effective team. A team that can give us competitive edge. Yene yentesa. Yene na kasa radio ni TVs way over 20 years ago. Nye new nipa dodo say is home TVs and radios. O de kan ko.
Amon ko bi o.
Yes, one no man enko. Ya marginalize wo mo.
How?
No way. Na check NDC time na enkura bechi se men kan kura so msusu o manyinyini. Ene hwe Sami Jamfinom hwe o mu progression. Na nya appointment ye de ma o mu na make o. There be and the nyina ko sharp. No, I'm not talking about appointment. I'm talking about the opportunity. The recognition. You talk about the opportunity, you talk about the recognition. The acknowledgement. The acknowledgement of Obido Betimaye, every organization. What time you need him? By any party need it. And Tessa, I will say, Sessa, yeah, let's call spade a spade.
Yeah.
American mo and the youth, no, they don't care about tradition, baby will be flow. They don't even care about ideology. They don't care about history. And Krana Ebano. Yeah, no, na one Baffour Awuah. Obi enim kwabre me nananom akosia manunum ne ya manunum omna satam kwam kuma me achichi wo mo esi efie ye de wo mo hya ahemfie tum cause ye be chiom tinye de aduane fa tokrom ebi abi kura dansoro ye de ko gum 6 months enti ye ne ye nyini no o ye de ye UP4 ye MPP4 ye de sanini ho na akura na wie school obi man opportunity kakra bi obekọ party no. Until we need to redefine our corporate or organizational focus as a fraternity. We need to understand the timing. Internal adena, we can compete in a very healthy manner. And yes, we can we no can Ukraine asesano. And the internal election, it will be sorry. It will confirm my sorry letterhead. Trust my sorry say. They are publishing the whole Ghana. My sorry yes, that. My sorry just that they wanted to come out big time. Then they realize, say, I never said that. Say, sorry, I instructed almost a moment to about matrimony. I never said that. It is a sorry and here no more back. So you instructed them. You see, and you can convince the whole world, but if you fail to convince God, you are in trouble. You're not doing home. We can compete in a very healthy manner. So we wait to my baby. I am one man in weakness woman what to know for. Now, yes, say among ourselves, you pretend as if we love each other, but you try be good, you fight it, binum, you bet my own yet into your elections, and this idea when you cry the beer, you project you. No,
Doctor, then this I consider we yaba. If you hear, because what the person that you
I think, say, in my opinion, wouldn't say, yeah, dear friend, even in jurisprudence, when we talk about social justice, your different cardinal points or whatever, or principles or whatever it is, your encrophobia to say, if it will be a herald man or something, I forgot, I can't pronounce it well. Woman or advocate, the advocates of social justice. One of the key things, and MPP, a principle, I think it's no longer there. Or back home said to each according to his works. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. And you to each according to his needs. To each, your idea be ever and say, any party, why you know? And I see a vessel, a pijao, and I a boa basso, and a more opportunity.
And that you
walk a bisua to each according to ability.
Okay, you bit me.
Exactly. Into your see a nipper be a here, nipafun you yase. But once you fail to realize or recognize what each can do best to the benefit of the organization, you're in trouble. But a lot of our people in politics, whether NDC and PP, are stand to be corrected, in my opinion. Almost individual interest is way over the national and the social interest and the organizational interest, or the party's interest. And almost on the doorso. You're perfect, will be our individual interest. But once you join an organization, your interest must be suppressed when it comes to the reason you joined the organization. So, our politics, now is a interest. Also, it's an enterprise to make money alone, to have power, to be somebody. And you need a worry. But once over join the MPP, anything concerning Ghana, if MPP sonny dear. Or say MPP no minor interest override your personal interest. But because encrophobia brain, they fake and they pretend and they lie. A woman individual interest, Amma and no yet to try a hono. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's the mean to me, your crana. No, could it intro near hyping or media, no, can some no, yes say. Wow, be a bit dino quarry so what do we a MPP and DC challenge my problem. Once an media na could chat the Oko MPP problem, non quao, none obiso shemo, even up to date, and Crawford still and we say social media handles and platforms, you say code cards, ne TikTok, ne Facebook, near man and writers we bring, and I be fake. A big problem say fake, but none say against one. They will escalate it or spread it. And the MPP with the men nampaw. By bad politics now. Even sometimes, when you go from crime, you be trained in communication. But yes, when you good, but it be a almost style and way of communicating does not really suit or does not align with the present political communication in a way. I don't know if you understand something. They might be solely corporate communicators. Not that they are not good. But then, and this in here, they are always lying. And then, Facebook near me, didn't throw no be idea. Meaning, they make out to myself. How do we reposition ourselves? How do we package ourselves? see be ahead of them. Who can do that best? How do we plan? Nipa ba kuntimi. How do we assemble the right group or set of people together? But is that how we go about it? No. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because you have people who have been communicating for about 30 years. They are not needed. People who are needed are those who fake. People who are not. It will be a creator that commitment, ni motivational factors ni intrinsic. The opportunity be no nya no benya be appoint to an position be and over period MP be no nya. But deep in the person, deep in himself or herself, when you say our intrinsic motivational factors and extrinsic, obi purely extrinsic. The be for bonten and motivate. But ni mono we need that instinctive or inherent or inbuilt adeno for organization. No packaging no kuntan. E bi kura asem kura okoka no ontiase. Ano no anka so e fake election ayekwi internal elections. What thing some na bi no kafa aspirants ni bi ho enne. Omumomu behave say. Omu ye bibia ma aspire na esiri mpokwa. E bi ensem o ma kan yo even last year. Ensem nkomo omu di ye. Ensem mo ka aspirants ni bi ho. Why those aspirants cannot let us win power? Oh man, no. And so they are rather attacking other people and insulting them. You see, if you have people who can easily pretend, maybe I'm a weakness, I mean to me pretend it. I mean, I'm no cry, ubi kumi cry meka.
Right. Not a way and no man. Yet me identify after say party na lose power now say grana party no wa bamu and what
now can be end you. Who will listen to you? They will even change your story. They will lie about you. They will fake. I don't know if you understand me. A country will be look, me, make us say me boom for you. But one who will be with you, because oh, the car is being emotional, the car is hurt. I was saying, I am bitter. Somebody like me, how can I be bitter over this? Maybe I have strong passion for my society and my party. Dear Nyamiya, me, why should I be better? I don't know. I don't think I made it because of politics. Ebi obi o nim what ye chira na o kan de ope. O kan so yes to the ujo anu. As far back as 1997. Na mitimi ye adwuma 16 hours a day. Adwuma phone ko a.
Wow.
Cleaning, car wash.
In Ghana.
Kitchen. There be London. Cleaning, car wash, kitchen. Those days. Na matomeka. You make out to say, if I have to depend on politics and sign my year, I have failed in life. But I thought I was kind of cranny pampe. They change this. They think say, I saw me inciting Crawford against you. Oh yes, politics, yes, sanity. And you mean be a make opposite. Because politics and yes, sanity. Meaning, what's the essence of politics? Or political parties formulation or establishment. All that when you are politics by.
And the narrative say politics na why you know.
And you me as a person, me can in general. They make out to me say politics. Then when you do me age, me over 50 years. Now we try say politics na be mo aye. Why try say no be kwa and what failing in life. It's not getting cheap money. And it's just why you. It's not about lying to the world. For
that means your politics na you send your tea.
Me. Oh, not at all. Come on. Me Jimmy we are saying that say in terms of image. In terms of name and their politics. But my wealth, no. No. But I've made a lot of input into politics. Before Mampenyiko for Mameka Koshe. That was before 2000. How many years ago? How many years ago?
25 years. 26 years.
Yes. How many years ago? 26 years. I say, me boy, honorable Dambuchenim. John Krugunu milenim asensu nim be wo munim enti ye mu bi no enya kasa tenten ye pe ye pe party ni no man ni
right. So narrative you better change narrative we e wo NPP mu
as a political party so pe party ni ya ye nye pe me nye surabofo but di no kware oh ewiase e bia how people were brought up ye ne yeso no Assemblies of God Sunday School ntete ye ne nya ye no ye be ka kire wo say men suro de obeku wini padua no ntimi nkumokra ye make out mase ene yesi dimpa
eye chahunya
ene yesi no kre no ho den sin kontompo no kreche ewa brabum enti yeso na yede ni me bi hihye ya dwum menka sa me de metie me yeso abofo sa me nya boni o minti menkasa I also ni pass sana dwen say di enti na wo MPP di enti na wo NDC de onko abenya na so ye ni pa bone pa o umbe so ye adwuma na de o ye why wadwen me ba politics na me bibia mepe why not but enye no nti na say me wo politics I say me wo politics say me dwen say it is me be MP me hwe me constituency me ni problems o bebre kwasa nya MP na so ye but I told them say me say me the education me develop me na run human development index any pampuntu into come constituency my check machine say ko 800 within 5 years
Nhyiaeso
yes mama scholarship about 1,000 we wait more check it tables and chairs here there man kra 2,400 go to the schools and find out secondary schools bear 5 my mom computers me bo modia F4C enya obi ano no so wa be ma na so ye omye training pa ne chew ye training nipa about 1,000 ensure ye dem communities my 14 out
mechanized
of
boreholes
yes obetum akoti na hosisi a enti me kan se me ye ena me kan se me football club amawo mo ene Okumasi FC nice team with their bars omo baby omo da hostel and na craft oni bi kura de omo me ba ho so eno enye se me wasika obasa na nyame bo me polling station executives me coordinators buso omo my year welfare half welfare funder near misika omo na e committee omo da no we yare ne se koto adura na akọ ye lab na nisika utimi 500 Ghana near misika da no omo ye so it's how you are committed to ba me sika ben me was card me ngase me nibi but ye can sika for organ akase asenka me nka ho I don't know if you understand what I'm saying but it's how I'm committed to serving society and in here and yes say me person me nko na ehu se me ye billionaire nya billionaire wa ye adwuma nya wusika wo billionaire wa wunim se sa billionaire wa ye nya wa adwuma na wa ye enya no enye se utuache sikama bloggers ni media guys now pretend say o ye say enye ni here o look at the barefooter case on the street in Accra now wako easily gone I went to ANC I wept
why
no one crying say bibiro omu two SABs why enti sankra we me dru ho a obi am ye statement am adwon ma ho no na ma start again into way the next 5 years next 10 years where will they be are they going to be armed robbers do we have data on them me na me concentrate on only Adenta Reggie stretch you ene kakra wo o bala boni circle enti even parliament more researching ya started ya hold on kakra be beto aso ya question say ya picky data on the street na minim kra say eyika ho enti we a politician what do we have for them do you think about security of this country do you know where they will be do you know omo growth rate how me wo ehenem kra no befa betra he kromo da he free he numbers no per year it grow by saying I don't know this is how you run a country this is how if you're a leader you should think and then look at the drug abuse all the young ones most of them are in drugs any time what are we doing do you have data on them even galamse cry do you have data on
illegal miners
you see ayana leadership any nim dear and yes deda who deceive public I don't know if you understand what I'm saying even if say once I'm able to deceive the public and lie and who say me good many nyankopon who say you good enipa who say mfaso ba wo so ama wo mo and yet when you fake your life and you think people know and yet when obe say unia obe pretend and yet look who even 1 trillion we are here me nya sure say who took wait my train play me ensem 190 Jamaica atmase and yet boni so if they were playing a kamepe but ask yourself playing a winner as a politician how many poor people have you helped some of us we identify problems oko parliament Miami statement my year I can on the floor a beer call for committee by the speaker The last one crowd, almost say, Obi sorry say committees in the city omunye niamano hinti we crack in Yami set.
Right. So now we are deputy finance minister. No, still no, I know. Sajuni we team still now. Now we are the boy man for now to me.
Oh, na say ye juma pa. Obi aka second ufrata nye juma liar. Your corner can ufrata ye juma pa. Let's face it. Challenges of money komu no. Obi a finance minister at that time kebeyeti. Let's not lie to ourselves. And you can refer to no more no, and you first and second is a first approval, both staff level and executive board level.
Yeah.
And yeah, they my boss so by my boss so Amin Anta Adam, a very hard working minister, and you Nhyiaeso to say so can you see hard working directors were very hard working, but it was a short time. I was there for just a few months. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. It's not having the ideas. So you move a lot of experiences, and yet they do. The fact that sometimes if you are social media, be try idea be a woody agro. Ghana is the only country we are politician. We are trench me so arrogant. Woody agro so I see and then a politician woody agro. I find it very interesting. Sometimes in two must say.
Because me say critics, I'm for because stika odi agro do stika or bon some more no.
How many about 364 days I have this so 1/4 days, you know. How many times have I made this agro? Would I check it? You cannot even get, if you put together, you can't even get 5 days the whole year, my answer. So what are they talking about? So one day be I acquire me a student, me go school, you know, me see jama. Na yeshi jamana boy si humia honorable mora na me no kwa. You identify with them. Edi was just a Ghana or tiny name. Look, I make a so say me a fifth best one in the world. I've never said that. But I have a motto. That who says yaki yusua. I can solve one of the major problems in our country: economic fundamental anomalies. Country be no economy no, well structured and can be sustainable. Governments may choose me words one and governments as most of the times in this country are buying to borrow on the domestic market at a higher rate than private sector. It's not done anywhere. Anywhere, go and check. Say T-bill rate can give you returns more than risky assets. So we're investing comparable assets from the banks. It's not done. Your models and our formulas are a calculated return. Say, be a investor or banker.
Yeah.
What you say? So, me the misika me investor or what? Na me investor will be to say, if I say, well, you may run boss or what? If I say, Gabia. Na me investor will be a eco banker. What risk? A woman say, well, I won't try me. Can you say Gabi?
Of course.
Gabi, they also saying bank. No, a bank, they are not so saying a bank. It's in your risk free rate. Into the higher the risk, the higher expected returns. And all over the world, no. So you invest in any bank in your country on the market. So all the 10 cities in the coma, interest in our Ubenyano, treasury bills rate in the Ukromuno at the home mount. Dada. It is a treasury be a 10%. Now, Misika, Miko invest to a banker. And Simuna Babahon, 10% in the home me dada cra. And son, and I'm saying me taking risk, you know. Who say Misika Beshina, every premium, you be to some amount. Into the Biana, so do Sika Banco invest here. Our say returns now, Binyano. We invest in comparable assets, our government securities more. Our sub bank at the end of the year, Cassin, a bind here. But Ghana Hano. Most of the times, go and check. And only TTO because of that, no. And my banks in Isika don't do a community private sector, the boy Bosiano, don't want home the car by ho. Your problem park is here by Kunimitro and I buy some creative value chains. I buy and process it, Gary. I buy and process you. I buy and process she. And I buy MBA Numa through that channel. Apart from public sector, you make a crown. And a banks and so, and I mean, Msika Koma by almost risk free. Obasa Mamma more, made Msika Bebrew.
Debbie.
It is Sikaka Krana, a buying yes or the Bebrew. Interest in the Kakraka. It in a debut and my friend double digit interest rate economy. Means I make at Yasia. And no soon to private sector, and so creative jobs. No, enough funds. Umunya Sikakasi. To Sikaka Crumbiano. Cost to you too much Into ntimi bie o madwuma one emfa nipa bebre adwuma. Two, ntimi produce to develop that equilibrium between supply and demand. Into aggregate demand no ye meet your private sector ntimi produce to meet. Until we are forced to import to add up. And once we are forced to import to add up, our city will always have a problem. Until the cost of doing business is going to be high, unemployment will be very high. We can't produce enough, so we'll be forced to import. Exchange rate will be a problem, and even banks' valuation in our GDP and real. It is our time now because banks they are supposed to give you returns more than treasury, and they are giving you something less. In terms of value, no, it costs so more because it means they get more inflows than. And also no, you integrated that in the computation of our GDP.
Okay.
What you say? And no na your formulas be you dey calculate the number 1 na 1964 by will be a friend sharp, a friend capital asset pricing model. No, and another person by near friend Ross who problem no ye any better formula no develop another formula better. And any person you who problems one no so Hanan and Liang and no develop it. And a damn who problem Then I also came to see problem away no. Then I developed a new model, optimal pricing model for risky assets in a competitive market. I use GDP, inflationary rate, money supply, policy rate, and I use market volatility and all those things. My model was examined by Canadian, Pakistani, and Ghanaian professors. This is what I said. I never said anywhere say me a fifth best in the world. Obi abet me akandi wape. The obi ni mu de enye dedeu. Enye kasa. Me compare me to obi. But the point that I'm making is that we have a country you were far back because a lot of people are not committed to changing Ghana. You didn't throw the enquire benya sika enquire be di to show us here we sika. But say you dream pa say madam intimina because youth know they are getting into drug abuse. How many people when they are left alone with their God?
Okay.
I don't know if you understand. We need to change our mindset.
Haircut decision, you know. Now can be and
but I was not against it. Whoever said haircut was a bad decision, either said on Tiasie and now say or intellectually dishonest.
Haircut ne buy,
yes.
Pensioners,
there be any solution at that time. I guess na papa. They make out nenya papa, but all over the world.
Option bien hobby.
Look, Bulgaria did, Jamaica did, UK look, a simple economic model or financial economic. Let me explain to you in a very simplest form. My baby was a waka. BBS CFB hold out. You can't hold out a situation where the issuer has gotten to a position he cannot perform his obligation. My baby's BBS. Me yet they are assuming to me. So two things. Either I say I should call baby, and now me no better say. Me I am ya. It be as a committee at the end 10 years time. I'll see a record 20 years time. See me to 1 CD a month interest in our hona. What do you know how dear? Oh, they say interest in our hona say 1 CD me to 50 pesos. Send your beer won't lose you see cry. A button for who hold and wow obey and yeah into your pow be a chow and it dear. But as of that time, that was the only evitable solution. So how did we get there? Only a different subject to discuss. But baby, you could do any dear.
But say her MPP as a political party.
Of course, or maybe a by Hano. At Jamaica, they had 2 JDX and NDX. Jamaica Dex Exchange and National Dex Exchange. Minim the American to say my training we wenum nyina ho UI group no dey call landing training here
and now we are finance minister at that time wa
and that time am see
but now we are finance minister at that time wa the kind of rata here na no an ka obeya na sir
that exchange oh that exchange dey there obi enu no any other solution minim there Ebisua na menye preview to all internal stakeholders at that time. Internal as a stakeholder, menye preview to all the pieces of relevant information and data at that time. Mpachoti the makers. And Tibia na me wadia, then I could have probably processed the data or embark on simulation. Who say, oh, maybe and try different alternatives or options and see. Because look, decision making processes all over the world. You have different alternatives. Odi ase ebi abeso kokumase ofa soro abeko ofa fom abeko uyesi abeko ma nsuo to ofa soro ha betumewu ofa fom obi a obi bewu ntem what's the criteria no ho but that time there where we got to because me access to information na me wo and data na me wo at that time there that was the best solution.
Okay.
And obekaya eno na akwa ba afi there ya bobo ya baso seseke ya take sa decision na enka asem toye about churches enti wo mo suffer any day still ya ebi kura wi na nya de papa ndi obi atiase but I said sabi akura nya conversion so in conversion you say esraka
so ya dia kanu
solution at that time we ma me no opeje ni tihwe fom no wai oso ne na awoso no and so na ko hospital enti atoda sa resuscitating method no so wa apply ebi akura no bewu. But applying that at that time, enye papa. Ese to the do bia wo no ma enye no pa. Ba wa no ma nipa be wu. Ma enia wo be nom na so yi na akiri. Enti enye the papa. But in terms of policy option there, it wasn't bad. Just I want to say.
No right decision.
Me pa choti ase. It was a necessary evil at that time.
Right, me say. Treatment here my former boss. Kind of Riata it was saying Ghana treatment.
Oh.
Na bruchre die.
Ene die ne nsem no minim. Se wadi boni woni boni. Me ade minim dia me pese meka bi. Na ba bia me madwene aha me kakra ne se. Ese aban we baaye no. Wo ye NDC ni a wodi boni a emre ni ho ma wo. Wo ye MPP ni a ana any other person ene emra nso wadi boni oni boni o. Ene emra no be so mu twen am yakodu asem ene me wa kakra because in any democratic dispensation etinye wo equity over law is a jam ye law student minim kakra over equity your maxims of equity maxims no de eye me deba ko pay wom ni say o say equality is equity.
Okay,
what you say and na ade ba ko me de wo mrem justice the whole ethos of it ni say the people that are governed must be served equally when it comes to justice.
Okay.
What you say? The justice has to serve. But we have to serve. Exactly. And no a hard drink kakra. But one more can say, Kinofrata anya she, one can the same Kinofrata na first 3 years. Now all Buama ye grow 7%. And I'm and you on one as a minister, no Timmy Buami manage a liquidity wall to embark on one of the most enviable pro-poor policy redistribution policies on the continent of Africa and probably the world. Free SHS. And I know Enti me and Kasawa yes me kase bibi too bad. Before said the management of bonds. And I before said kamedia bia message semu kakra. Maybe rate and call with our bonds on our market and those things and the laws or whatever it is but on the whole no untimi nka so wanya ade o never so koya boni bi de ntimi nka me call it in adwuma enjuma tra me ka so aye papa na aye boni in that sense but say crucify him na ne kan bebribe no it's the same thing as I say about a month ago amikoka say obi ka say ba omia na say economy na enye no kore wi ase na say and the near mammy suko we are singing. Me go and the fofra in favor Dr. Bawuah team there. And woman can the Macampo, Omuden trot torso.
Right.
Omi incite other groups against you. Now we incite you will be against me. Now kume. And now saying me and now yes I won't kwaba a beam for some person ya or bapu. Obi okra Dr. Bawuah Nhyiaeso Brian when you duchmo. Obi odi no obi say position de be maninti o on research document bia oni ade bi o say oba ban mu amede be boa de odwere ho an say aban baba ne na hye ba bi obenya sika no adidi no anya ne gas bi akọ ayi Dubai no mi aka so na Ghana wo sika no menka say me pesiko but that is not my mentality.
Okay.
That is not what I stand for. What I stand for is that me dem want Baffour Awuah society. What I stand for is that I'm in politics. Me not perfect. I can make mistakes, but I want to be part of any system, any organization that will truly change our society.
Right.
And then hear me.
Doctor,
until the upper mobi mekume mobi ni mate Yesu Christ didi natam. Ana. Na me mistake am to me hwan e adum bi kwa. Ti mu amowa no na mu wo sika na mu pese mu man crofo di atam wo social media kan sa me mfata no. Mu nkoso na monka. It doesn't matter. But ade ya me ya say sa propaganda no mpanyimfo ni bi are bought into it. Ebinum campaign omo ya omo na mi. Omo de me compare Amin Anta. Me fa me hon compare Amin Anta.
Ya be campaign, ya be di hon.
Woni me fa me hon compare even am ko ba Amin Anta di. Me nka hwe mfa no ho. The Omo to no mo cookie stories. Boss, mo omo nye mistake because me nso radio wi ase o. And I can really talk. Nyame ne mpanyimfo na ne me akasa. Me mfa me hon toto Amin Anta. So si Amin Anta ya ade ase me o intelligence me a enye hwe. Me sabi obi chen obi obi ase ana ni jama se manya nkopon Ghana for ho nyina obi a ni obi ability obi a capacity sabi ami we minua nyi we na me ne be ko ho me nkasa e na me nwene sa ami ni bibi am ye sure se minim and the same way I think I was know something onu so anim nyina enuafo
right,
but why should we lie frame up stories ni edi obi atem na obi an campaign? We can go there and look. Obi oye tribal politics. Ghana.
Okay.
When you ask the relevant question, then they attack you. When you ask, and you're there in parliament, your group of people, women not support one person, and they're tribal. Me, I don't even believe in tribalism. So what's the when you my diploma in pharmacy, into my physiology, therapeutics, need those things, pharmacology, and I understand physiological setup. When it comes to ecology and evolution, in our genes and chromosomes, there's nothing like tribe. And to me, baby, nyamede magina kudu mi nyisa ni manumponi.
So we free we are
okay. But when you are analyzing political strategy, there are dynamics. Untimi overlook it. Ebiso sanete so menka. What kind of country is this? Is it what we want?
Right, I feel what Johnny and Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoah sticker and Yaneno Dean Common MP for Nhyiaeso, former Deputy Finance Minister, former Deputy Minister for Trade.
Incoming President was why the incoming President? I say TV close a day. I'm saying TV3 red down.
Stick quickly, ma. Me share Honorable Atuforsen 1 year. Yadia Mamuno Emma NDC Abain. One of the Finance Minister. Now you're Deputy Finance Minister. I'm for say Ato is forcing. Maybe say Ato is falling. And now $1 to CDR. 10 cedi 71 pesos. Full of war, abafom. You say normal inflation, single digit. Atuforsen assessment 1 year of NDC.
Me that's be media me assessment of the economy. I still think Atuforsen, in my opinion, on ye good, on ye bad. This year going to be to my judgment.
First year won't me
Debbie. Because the economic impact na ye nyan last year nyina ye di ura this year no enya this year ban yo na economy no is not an event o. It's not an event. Economic development your process. It's not an event. And ni nyina aka me see MPP yenke asem ni ye they make out to say MPP yenke asem ye. Two, people pretend they understand issues and they cannot. And yet the facts are that down Crawford who say oh but time can it sort in your you. But you need to understand the psyche of Ghanaians and communicate along those lines. Then you can get the attention. And yes, I can we are seeing now, Ube Yama, Facebook, ya comment, no, but what is the percentage of this present government contribution, discretionary spending policy and the policy at DBA, you which was expressing as 0.1% of our GDP. Yeah. Nibusa Maker. I buy no first year buying whether MPP and DC. I didn't eat me in a power. Let me explain to you. When it comes to the exchange rate, our CD depreciation, appreciation, there are independent factors. You can independent factors are CD now performance, dependent factors. It be a variable to be and our factors be a CD no where they and a call from an age now and a friend independent variables. You're near my listing. Only say basically no a demand and supply.
Yeah.
Adie bia no say doors be bra ne bo no likely all things being equal no likely to go down. Enti first thing you see say MPP are buying be free so no. Now in terms of supply of dollar no net saying by December near over $500 million. By January near about $1 billion. Do you know why? Because I stand to be corrected, but the first time I can remember, you domesticated cocoa syndication in this country. Normally, cocoa syndication, you na buchi. Say you beto cocoa nesa anemana, you kwa jibosiano wa buchi, any idea be. It is kind of a baha unti and hoda it. But first time I'm a year 2024, yes, as bosiani adini na Ghana. It is canis as a bequa buchi, Ghana. It is December, new millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. January, new billion, or even over. It is not your number one factor. Number two, na ya tuaba, ama abana ye largely peaceful. And you know we are seeing in our confidence na ye day.
Aba.
Asamba kana so. Investors wo many abesha abie. Number three, there were specific primary macro indicators. Omo a performance and so buama usidi ekosura na ekofom. GDP, reserve, primary balance, those things. What you say? Na osha tell we are see ye din pa Ghana so ye din sika sem nyina say no ka sa afi bi mu na ye GDP ye sika sem nyina nyini 0.5. Samre ne we are seeing nyini negative 3.3. We are seeing nyini ko nachi. Samre mu wana na inflation pempenso anema bo okosoro e ko 54.1.
Yeah.
Exchange rate ko over 50%. Obakaya.
Yeah.
But ye buy no like after no we started working on restoration, recovery and restoration. And na do be a honorable Kenufriata no so ye do corner ye ba okay those terms no. Ahuchire ba kese na ma the then president His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He made a very profound statement. Or time ene yanka no kure o memu ntino. Sa statement is statement and ka was say nay big time professors in economics and finance and sa nima no. Omo build on that statement a whole book or omo ye publication on that. No more expansionity. A situation where you have lives being lost or the likelihood that nipa bebrebe. What do you do to your economic policies? And you already, I think PFM Act 2016 Act, I think 921 as I say, I think Section 18 has stand to be corrected. Or state even a number of situations upon consultation or policies, rules no near denocran, bit my trust and say, Bakuya war, Bakuya natural disaster, and about Kuya, I think epidemic or Yaria Kasiaba, and Rano Kreka was. So Nanadu made such a memorable statement. Maybe I can Niagro was say when it comes to lives, Sinipe Wa Yen Timin Sam Fanema. Na economy crowd yes say ya.
You mean travel so yeah.
And Yamako so bad. So we started building the economy. Yeah, restore economy now to the sense and me near doctor to force you beside us. Or yeah, two statement. Budget presented two budget statement on the floor. Confirming me in the last one kroye on one state economic indicators no. GDP a esamia bibia no. Ye be free so no. In fact, any provisional figures kra na 6.3. But the budget in buy no na 5.6. 5.6 almost twice 2016. 2016 it was 3.4. Now inflation pembenso na ma bo kosoro no. Na a free 54.1 above for ma be do 22.9 there about. Now same rate above. And now reserve you be 4 months as a 6 months oh baby. I stand to be corrected anyway. It's not be beer sati I come I say nipa area oh when you terminal disease. No infection chrono ya cure infection every ho. After the near yellow no I started back kama. Ninsema yellow no I started back kama. After you odidi. So that is what continued. NDC 24-hour economy dey no my. That's what my boni and I can't crofo fi say me praise NDC no. Omonye boni nye papa. They are still in a way in configuration stage. That's me. That's how I understand it. What you say? Maybe what I can say is say at to force spending but even then, let's not forget say there were IMF conditionalities. And also at the tabo kakra to your expenditures, your spending. Yeni every hono. Ni enya first, second staff and executive board approval. Ni enya third staff approval na ka executive one you 2 MPP so abekaya enti energy debt ni niam ni bebre apart from say beto ye no na ye situation no awesen because aban bia no ataban mienu na wunya sika akese mienu either say o jeje revenue ana akobobosia edu ba bi no we had market impairment. Productivity are impaired. Na yenko dwa so hwe nkoso. Nti aban nya tax, nti asa aban bobosia. Enam se na market nkoso nti na GDP ni so nyini. Ena enye ka wodi na hio e oda to GDP.
Yeah.
Eti tama market nkoso wi ase activity shape mko mapapa bia ye nya adwuma bia ne yesika sem na nyini biem. Ba ne e bobosia because ye nya tax. Eti na mabosia na ekosoro. Ba ne ye GDP ye ketekete. Nti na ma da to GDP ne kokese. By the time I hear free horo, near to me, I do about 60-something%. It's economy no more can. Ye free so no. Na asa pejan who you. But I have a sure idea be a Ghana high share. Ye free be systematic risk index in financial economics or
AsaasePa saying.
The attorney say, you will succeed the abia. Na yetimi jina homa or maybe a send your market economy. There will be a friend aggressive sector market economy and your defensive sector market economy. Yaka aggressive sector market economy. Omo index no systematic risk index na 1. Asiane say economic figures na economy no kɔ nanim ohamu nchichemu dua. Sa enwuma no krona economy no enipa ne feeling intent mekɔ. Because ehɔ na banks ne companies akɛse ne nyinaa wɔ any aggressive sector no. Yeni idea no more characteristically no more of defensive sector no systematic risk index no far below 1 ko any SMEs about 90%. Eti economy no kura yenya figures no ko nanuma there's a lag period bi a check and sign ye feel impact no and into whether NDC na also MPP na wasu say ye ka say oh economic figures na ya ade a Ghana for ta ka asem bi oh inflation across we ye say above form bibia ya de no mtaka very common with Ghanaians you should know whether in this MP ka say hey GDP across we ye say Ghana for say feel in your pocket ye hu ye nyansu saso we dey kan GDP they na tie ne say ya na nya say nya no kro but its impact on us, it is a long time because your market, basically SMEs. The risk index, far less than 1. Into the economy, a new ready impact on us. And most of the things Ghanaians are enjoying now, Omu Prezi NDC bebrebe no. What we left 2024.
And home for so now Omu.
Exactly last quarter. Eti afen ye behwe se ye nuanom atofo obeka so a Trump buy no he had a fair tariffs war with the global partners in free Asia no oh yeah nti dollar no na demand on the international market akofom na no so aye dey ekofom me I am still not convinced by what is happening for 3 reasons tie we na me fancy on this issue. One, when we enter amigidi say still ye CD no any dollar and some no yenya anu adu when we enter
Debbie.
Number 1, do you know the amount of dollars in Ghana?
Debbie.
Obi in Bank of Ghana mponi when we are the currency because of black market. Eti Debbie you have about 3 different rates in this country. Bank of Ghana's rate, Forest official rate or check it and a black market. And your borders so strong until now we name the amount of dollars being circulated. How can you control it sustainably? 2, you woman, you cry almost everything. Preference for goods of the same liquidity and risk factors, Ghana for tata buchiri. And the demand for foreign goods, appetite for them is very high. So it still poses problems to us. And until all these problems are properly resolved, solutions are short term. When it comes to currency, short term solutions cannot be relied on. We need a long term.
Okay.
And at to force in the name, Miniano onya dia me your trophy. And I'm because one by my yeah, and also the uncle for can enter.
Okay.
This year, Kono, and you be who say, almost discretionary spending policies, almost start implementation credibly, tangibly. Now they are spending, they are paying contractors very well. Now, if you how do they manage the Russian budget?
Okay.
That is my position now.
Right, Mera, se afelo abeke ho me pacho high AsaasePa 107.3, Asase 98.5 Kumasi, Asase 99.7 Watamale, Asase 100.3 Cape Coast Mining City Radio, 89.5 Takwa FM Radio, 103.3 Strong 101.5 Wachimoda Community.
Yes, me nimu she. Me dia menyankopo.
Now, I can't 19 days. To January 3-1.
We are better akai. Say one can say we number count. Man prepare.
One prepare. But I drink the can.
Nyankopon adom. Me ye obi ade be Nyankopon adom.
Right. I can 19 days na GBCS yewie. Osono no be kasa on the 1st January 2026.
I was osono be kasa.
Osono be kasa.
Wa kasa.
Okay.
The elephant has already spoken.
But I'm saying, yeah, common now for your campaigns in the sea cordon. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, I'm for so head of the economic management team. And critics say economy no can be na Emma MPP lose year.
Economy no can pa.
When Timia managing year.
Only they no manage economy. And you know. When we bisa question na me answer na half we di matem. Oko answer hanso na half we di watem. But boss, I will always stand for the truth.
No, you manager of the economy.
It is about Bawumia na say economy ne dia. Na say ye to aba wie na ba ko wi ni. Ni asan baba ka be ka che Ghana for say enye MPP na say no na world crisis. Boss, we feel say we've moved beyond that. To me they know. And found her Dr. Bawumia 18 ombedi di matem. And found say Dr. Bawumia come who say okay can say bia odi mi kura ma bam. Anya hwe me de manyankopon. Anya hwe say na de obeka achem say me nya intelligent anya hwe otiase anya hwe nyame edi kwase asema no say do no aka ye no me mu Amin Anta Adam o bia enti na power nti Dr. Bawumia bedi di matama mini problem de make out myself but me de me hwe no so e me ka de anya no kure emfa because me respect me penasem sabi onye nipa fon but what you make na say the entire me free in the camp enye say sabi okoka bibi tia me ana anya no na me hwe mfa me ho the entire me free on say me feel say chance MPP betim dey win power with Ken Agyapong is of higher probability. And you bone kwaso.
Oh, can I sign up?
Oh, na say why win him. Masa, you free performance in strategic management. You free performance. There were 3 key variables in terms of functions. Baby outi. And yema miensa any here. Ebemu wetima ye wadwuma ni ye. The edin kan your ability. So win him dear no. Enti me o de metra de oti ya enye ye. Cause me nim. And I win him dear no. So why nya opportunity a obedo abetra ye adwuma. Na de win him dear na de hama na ya nkanya wa ya motivate wa say enye ye. Enti MPP issue wom sese no. The singular function of our chance a opportunity of being government and perform a opportunity to get power. Say ni to me and ketimi national health insurance. Ya make out myself.
Me too pa.
Can you any power create my free school? It is a day in enya power. Hey, so we honorable Ken Agyapong, we are Dr. Edichumo, we are Dr. Baumio, we are Dr. Brene Champono, we are Cabinet Japan engineer, Cabinet Japan, Inquisition. They make out myself. Now, 2 minutes you are there now.
So, why do you think Secretary of Japan?
Now, I want them idea now. Just I want to me. Obi a wosum nyame a wo so kan Bible ni Quran because me books me enu pe e na me de me gidi say e Nyankopon books Bible and a Quran. Obi a kan Bible ni Quran bi e so ye no kwarefo because e nyame book and chese me holy and am perfect. Bible na me kan no me nti me di intro baby am name me have on radio and TV for 30 years. Many president Mahama no nyina atra GTV da. Hana tete no ama be no those days na hot FM num na wo ho na Oman FM num nyina ma that time period of about 2.5 years 3 years na me call Santa 4 stations a day me fi sprinters me so ahomache 3 ni dware me be da na abo be 12 mani so biri.
Wow,
there was a time it GTV and me collapse because na me na for almost 1 year me na ye my chewa grunum. I know what I'm talking about. People see me outside, because man for Canadian man traffic. People really call for your country more. When I'm airport, your country more. And tell me one I'm saying it's power first, and it's everywhere. Let's look. Nanado Obano, ni didn't say 10 you know. Look, what is some bonny Nanado? Ni won't be I verify and say Nanado. But because na Ghana for no pen at that time, no. I find Nanado's first election, he won the whole Ghana. When you are 49.7, I stand to be corrected. Only winning the whole Ghana. I can point 3 + 1 vote. Second election, now Mokano. Nanado won. Ya win ya. And Kujina, a court. Nyamiame Papa, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bamian Kujina. And I didn't answer Sentia Fadia saying Nanado lose you about 3 elections. Nanado won, but NDC took the election by force. Obi a winning NDC be and when they are in power and you joke and they be no more mesre NDC and you the same model no the aje Ablekumanov the aje Etiwa ambeso de pandai and you the same NDC is anomati when they are in government they will suppress areas that will vote and they will project yes and they will use violence and then no matter chief justice or and a align court no with their own people. Afraid you din se munukura no fa election force what they call to be no akodi be enkrofon ti game na se NDC be so mu gu MPP
right so Kennedy
run one party state
so Kennedy o Nhyiaeso then obetimi aye pe dia wo kan
Kennedy one nyame kan ya na beton so Kennedy's issue has a lot of divinity a lot of divinity. I'm be honest with you a lot of divinity. Just a win any. Memenka say nyame yi akere mi obi a wasum nyame ache awo ani no. Me ka no kore na akere. She enye easy o. Nyankopon afre papa no because eniema etwa fa Kennedy ho no. Enye simple saa wo. Enye onwanwa. Kennedy nko hwan ene nyame apagya ne sei. Ese kane bi ato no so. Look, what kind Bible ye pa woman nyame afro ma lead o munkrofo nyina. This is how it happens. ye kan ho nsem bebre Yesu dia ne yanka amfa no na Yesu he na busia ya wo no kura de ye wo pe ba bi kura anya ba bi ana edu nyina sa ata na hotel ni biase
nsem o mu kan no kura na say nsem o mu kan
na de he na no kura ne de he so obi di obi atem no di ni bi nti nti anya presidential material asem na wo kan de o mu asem no mo kan ko mo twetwa bebre anya no kura but let's even assume so obi di na tem no di ni bi anu nti na Ghana ni ote ho a ubetimi ayi video practical evidence of soldier from Penyifo Ghana ha Kennedy abaso peja no salute no say 37 ha with the millions of dollars and a project away for Akumayare cardiothoracic center oko konfanoche kenipe bewu asante mamu ne bro ha foko sirem ni ade oncology machine ebi ni ba bia o machine a treat yare akese cancer ni mewu ne no Kennedy and the millions of cedis ekom de ye ho adwuma na ho mpa ko Tamale teaching hospital covid ba ya wo mutu mani ba bia nyeye no wana di nsika koji nipa nkwa ho papa Ghana fo ko ka brochire no me busa question ba ko pe na sika fo ni Ghana enju we so ka chem se Ghana fo no monam ho no wo ba ka chem se obi di Kenya atem odi ni bi enti anu ntino de Kennedy aya ma Ghana fo nyina ene the companies bebrebe a wasi afa nipa bebre wa adwuma mu no ehia Ghana ni so opa adwuma ye daache ompe nipa owo abadaye owo nsono manipa in terms of spirit of benevolence e wonu mu no odo nipa buo nipa ompe no na sama na na mo kanu Ghana o munya nkwara o na nipa bebre afa Kennedy de ntino mo frɛ no onam Jom Kennedy onam a street so Kennedy onam airport Kennedy kwadum ni PZ ni adekohwe even na university lecturers and professors chairman institution edi mu Ghana ha omo mfre Kennedy ni busaw is it Legon is it UCC is it KTA is it ATA efa he papa nyame amanensa so wono so wo me ese Kennedy ayo mu nyina Kennedy won so wadidi charismatic ho ahwan achemda on second didi Methodist cancer atemda once we didi Catholic bishop wadi o matamda please mama maye says we have a country we cannot speak the truth and fight that which is dysfunctional to the performance of our republic. What kind of country is this? On my idea ya no kra say no kra so menka on my nyankopon sa womuno we don't behave this way menka se Kennedy we so abofo ne ani aka hwa no so so abofo me de me feel say Quebec so Kennedy obi a waya amanyosem ekomfie aduanan me nua utie me
mitupa
wa wie sika course of competent jurisdiction di Kennedy atum na adwuma ye no wie oman sika nyina na Peter asuafo edumienu na di Yesu echi no wana de sika twa obi aso no me busawo ni afra ne sei Peter na wana Nyankopon esi na so na wo no so that time na James num ni Martin num ne ho ahwan nam ho Bartolome num ne ho anom na me busawo Moses wankum nipa Moses no odini okum nipa e de ne hyefam kata no so onu kwa no Israel ni David cried o me kum obi kum se na ye on ne beda hwe me ka no kra na achro God takes the foolish things of the world to shame the wise.
107
Nyankopon fra Gideon no o se awurade Israel nyina mabusua na yemu ye Israel nyina ho se abusua na yemu ye na yaketwa me na yemu mi a me yaketwa nyame se wa na me yusiu hwe ye ko one constituency in one of the regions ever no Asante region one of the constituencies me say ma me enu asem mienu bi o mbe kasa no mu safe na so wura ho se kenye Kennedy a ko bi ma so ki kumo mu. What are you talking about? What are you talking about me bisawo? Ghana for kura be brain na omje say your mindset is kura na say ye ho adwuma. Wo ye obi ono so ye kekaka nani so hye kakra.
Do we need a radical leader?
Yes.
As of my
what proving record.
107.
Now the good thing is that Kennedy no no nko ana namo. Kennedy wo meye one man show. O team papa bi. Team. Hwe mimi gina ha medem jim hudi o so anyu huni a. Yase de ahwerepa nkasa.
Ankuru huni ide.
What bi da? Yase obi so nyi turo do matoa. What? Wana chi obi CV ma no.
One or two CV.
Thank you. Oko pa adwuma bi na chiro CV ma.
Dabi.
The only thing say men card there wontimi nye. But the obetima ya wa ya wonim de say otimika. Me all the foreign trainings amenye nyina. Me di nyina betu dwa nansen. Me school ama come course so ma adwuma ma ye. How many people know say me be adwuma from 207 na tu nipa ka be si de. Ye nam no nyase ye ma obra. Odiase but any kasa anyhow chiro bia because e bia won nam nshow ni me apart from abonte am pa agro pe nipa no enam for simple me mpe na nka me ni over 50 years with PhD nka me yellow by April nya me pa na wie me LLB me time no kran so me yenye nipa fon na enam wiase o enye kasa bebre nipa beka enye bi no hype e bi nim nyenya opportunities bi nti they talk anyhow yene no we've gone through the mill. Otiasie kotra landing wash cars ye adwuma wa kitchen ye nyuma sa ni namu abesina kutu maybe wo munni mu bi de 2 years secondary school me mate university eja me wo mu be wi ansa na me ko ba ko me primary school ko culture center umkope shields no enkrom ye nkran ketenkete spelling bi akwezo me di obi me ye common entrance stage 5 Otiasie ba me nkrofo nyina be ko school jami obi anim de two obi nye obi asem no obeka but people should go about and destroy Kennedy as if so onye nipa obi was general street so aton years blade matches timi awura braboma kofa Germany akọ America okoye otime bia nyuma talkers manipa ye ho abagana ha from 92 be nyina odinsika bu MPP na MPP aba na Kennedy nko ampo no anya aban contract da 2016 cars makuma ku 240 edisi na bisika wom media nam ya Asante regional organizer wodi bi ba ho ma me yusi me NDC medi 209 Kennedy fa madwumam honorable Titus Grover Kennedy fa madwumam ofan krofo pia adwumam kone factories ni steel factory no ono ne omo ye ho no efe nipa 1000 at go pine go and check na no me kan mu nua ba ko gimachi na electricity enya no electricity se me na ho nya me speciality ndi na me nim e kire na me frebu se electricity omwo capacity to certain level e ko kese bi agye se griko and a griko na so mama ni station it will cost him about 11 million to 12 million dollars. Kennedy has I think one of the biggest fish ponds in Ashanti region. Go and check. Apart from factories now, produce plastics, produce way, produce sack, ye way ni sani market ni coastal for Cabo-Mines, one of the biggest in West Africa or Africa. You make be bre or real estate or near
so to the ordinary Ghanaian, we be say and to the delegate we be say san woman in tia say your man akwanya man
no, actually said there's a major problem in Ghana. I will wait to fix unemployment. Okay, we say the facts will be a match as a president. Papa. Then who can be a good president? So Ghana has human high. Ghana has a major problem with corruption. Our inability to develop, design and develop the required value chain to handle the journey between our raw materials and then the finished goods, the final product. No be no what produces at the NB bebre that all factories or experience or international connections. Some of the human or foreign partners or no me it will be a president or the business na say what the manufacturers say what the job creation say when him how or be position or be the policies ama investors e Ghana ha no etimi collaborate with foreigners e be nyuma ye sustainable be fa ukọ China na ade a edwuma ba kutumi fa nipa 4000 2000 omo run 3 shifts a day or tesania manase na so no ntimi nya de a ene hwan biem me busa ene hwan who is a good leader. What is the essence of leadership or presidential position? Is it one that put on tie? By saying this, I can't say others in you. But what I'm saying is that there's nothing like presidential material. Or presidential material. Either they are suffering from unconscious incompetence and also intellectual dishonesty. What is presidential material? I ain't find a word. Show me any philosophy book. I say, you feel presidential material, an economic book. We rather talk about, or we talk of presidential functions and responsibilities. A service. The essence of leadership, and for that matter, presidential position, is offering the state the needed service in terms of leadership style to provide the needs of the people, to ensure sustainable redistribution policies, to ensure that the secondary macro indicators, i.e. agriculture, education, infrastructure, security, health, you put measures in place that will offer the people the needed utility, and that will be very sustainable, and make sure say any pahombe to and yes say obi no pretend say we enti ne every organ hano. I thought that, look, one of the cardinal principles on which Singapore was built, a meritocracy. Na menka sem chro na mo England sa yi an menkai woni player na friend and right no.
Yeah.
Em say Satan no obo either Crystal Palace me refi either so obo ansa na oba Arsenal. Na woni o ha dwen wo park so where to training or pentokwa where near basabasa and na wo say na ya ka say GFA no ma suspend no but na omu ko national team aka omu ni Italy na one country World Cup qualifying series bi afi na ya national debate say akwezu no extra aka otimi shego enti yenyi band no because ye ni ya policy ana ya man ntra ho omu ginu ha na omu yi omu ba ye no omu ni one of the teams about draw and share that one and qualify for World Cup. If you are listening to me well, when the time was so important to lift the band on a right, so England could qualify for World Cup, they did and they qualified. Share a do baby oh, and yet sa propaganda kasa basa basa. Ghana look me, I have a high pitch and high tone. I'm very animated when I speak. Me what Peters International School near Femi Action Man Opa so be tie me akobusa adentia me na me recite Rollins niema se ebeye speech and prize gi anase ye parent PTA niema enti mean say me so nyina no asoma beka so adenti na we max adenti na yesa enchese me ni pobone enchese I'm not capable. I don't know if you understand. Yeah, me go to Maslok. Me ka e bi fi se mani anso nyesa na me paka Maslok nya ba bia sebe ebetima mani pa nya no 7.3 service to the nation oba ko hwe enne wo de munkobu so say whether in this MPP o mo bomidin abesi ne because of the way I worked and changed the place. Ya make out say be bia ni wa look na na yesi obi say Ken Agyapong yiri yimedi ayen tro Ken Agyapong na adwuma otimi ba no pa 15 minutes to 8 no the pen ase no atena ho oba say fired obe you a this ya me mia na me ja adwuma no opa abusa me kokora no ofra broche be kra na ya ne yasema ja na adwuma na ye kra na ha no
is it because one na ye adwuma paint ya open asema
oh na say no ni me ya adwuma da but okase me di na chi last time an come mo Dr. Baumia eno kra no odi me nya issue buso obi a me nkasa me pe ba me very principle do and I mean, the nipa be can me who a coming kwame ni nyankopon. How do I feel about my decision? I don't think I'm in politics because of what I will get. Me age say the many of politics munti and I'm a politician. I have failed my parents, I failed my God, I failed myself. If you're in politics today, now we're level here. I dear back open now, you radima unyansa any opepa or the boy mine, any society, and yet they will be. If we are say who dear baby near the quay. Minka says he can you. I want money. I do like almost 5-6 jobs. What you say? Me pescapa, but in yes, say wabo mem. Of course, if you are politician, you have opportunities kakra. And the America, UK baby oh. But men what you say obrabono. It's all about say we be pescan wada nipa. And ya no ni eka. Baby a yedruno. Ghanaians want Ken Agyapong. Finito. Enti akase MPP for no ombeto aba ediama Ken Agyapong hwe okay obi oye other company obedidi watam obeka ne men fata obi oni mukura no oyew obi a wonni mumpo abrabom no oyew ote ya mekana se obi a wonni no obedi watam obeka de ope ono mamu wie a no obe change the story no What did you make an say? And oh my ya, person say minimia, I mean them. And on Bessano. I dear bear me then say, come in Nyankopon, Minia Minya Hintiano. Miss Adam to you.
And I won't come be a some fan.
I mean, so I day. News that's why I day.
107.3.
My can be a fan was say. Yeah, me can say. Me and Tatiana Minya and I dear name say. Nana Nado, but mommy position. Minister of State Finance, whether I'm wrong or right. Somebody pushed against it. And no one wants an kokai.
Now refer to why.
I know the who said here. Said the or visa refer to no answer. Oh, yes, yeah. And the American said, look, boss, Mammy Cassam to Obian so you as you. Mam Crawford, your mistake. No crap, ma only a bit of say, oh, now candidate and will be winning. I'm a position, Wana. Position, Mamma Cramp, Major Pamenche. Papa de Madri. I was a positions and medity. But Anoma Bible say Anoma credit. And who are a dorsal. Intimidation a dorsal and turning contemporary deception a dorsal. One more we are tribalistic, no. Omo we are tribal bigot, no. They are there. Omo mompo na shout this will be a tribal bigot. Omo mompo. Do they want us to speak? Look, yet door for MPP ni unity in Obi Obi and so Obi. Mobi now we ye de intro na we ase nyina ase won ase ma da na nya no kra Nyankopon hwew eti no bi o ha sebe enome na ama no so eba ne ma ne maso on check on efie bi o ha they begin to get generational problems.
Yes,
because of what they do. Tesa de me ye boni na wo me team na de me nko amanya nti na me yesi ya nya me betu ameka me de me gi Nyankopon di pa nyame wo wiase enti wo de omo na da nipa omo nwu emu bia nu ase omo ni yatem omo nka de omo pe emfa me ho.
Is it because near be my opposition are you blocking your opposition now
after no na me ni doctor echi I will say ma cheo ni nyina echi na me support doctor enye me principle me constituency and ebinum ba me ho. So this issue came up and say honorable and wo ba be hia ya ne address ya same way and ma me kokae. Even if I made a mistake, Kurada, do you have to be insulted and attacked the way they're attacking me? Maybe so. When in number of not nessa, my boom and gusu boom. A bit more tamale says here. I pay their master school fees. I pay. Me workers are me home. A bit a minia northern brothers. In any case, me I don't even believe in tribe. Yen na na etoda obi abaka na small person waka ba me se mesua de ade mesua no tribe ni mojam eni jinsim eni chromosomes enya hwe evolution kwa se bia ukotra baby for a long time se bia organisms and species be settle baby for a long time, adaptational tendencies, climate ni food will behave the same way but e mojam ye ni nkrani eni asantini ni anwurani ni nod na ye ni obia eti mekura no as a matter of principles. But when you are analyzing politics, you bring in these dynamics, whether they are important in your decision-making processes or not. Are they not your mom no mere tribalistic? Mimi mom. Winning. Ma Nyankopon move for anabem. Until Bible no say whose report will you believe? I'll believe the report of the Lord. And you can crucify me, you can kill me. If you so man no day, you will convince the whole world. And a year day. If we are so if we are say, make sure say you leave a legacy that your descendants will benefit, but not a legacy that will be a curse on your family. What do you say? They should stop everyone.
Obi
me. Obi to me. I'm so who name the way I'm at. Me nyina na masesa ho sem fi se we no kura if you be kum kura mfa me ho nye de ehia ne de ehia se MPP and DC e be your mind ye de ehia ne se look, do you think Ghana MPP and DC sweet children in Ghana your data no
Debbie
oh asa let's do the right thing.
Right yeah so quickly delegacy to aka 19 days why Dr. Ken Agyapong yenko
de edi nkan power first and the other hwie. In fact, we should not even debated why they should be Kennedy. Because Ghana, akra si Kennedy panyin si Kennedy lecturer si Kennedy farmer si Kennedy shoe shine si Kennedy obia si Kennedy just say won obi a won kan okre wi ase ade na san crofo no mo kasa no o man kasa Kennedy di atemti empe no ya to so mienu Kennedy asom party ni sin nipa aba for no nyina is a fact. In fact uyi obi te say Ken Agyapong Kennedy even me am here my contribution to the party in terms of long service and commitment me before man panyiko for but me say me cash share for MPP. How many of them na no so matoka de bebu party nimpo me kura train aka no untimi nka say me ni so nsi wo mo eba politics but nyame na free nipa the first some party a change say nyame ntimi nyi obi ene de. So in terms of Kennedy's contribution to the party and his commitment to the grassroots, what Kennedy is show the MPP grassroots no. Emu da ho me mu bi da I say TV3 clear. We're developing your friend Ken's grassroots welfare policy and the actual say charity begins at home. Also on TS say MPP bar and NDC bar. Yes, I employ nipa 4 million, 5 million, 2 million. Agents no want to abami e ba ba mu no. O me ye be 200,000 and so timi nya mu 90%. Ne ba kura ya mfa na adwumada. The Kennedy say see anywhere in the world. Na Bible kura say believer wontimi hwe we immediate family war no. What is unbeliever? Kristo ni. Eti ono de o gi database a obi asa Mr. Committee e friend bia Stephen Amoah me ye painter, me ye teacher, me ye nurse, me ye doctor, me ye financial economy, ye whatever, me constituency ni, me polling station ni, adwuma me ye nie, say ye be fa me nkrofo ni bi, say ye be fa painters a. Wo contractor no, ye be my list. Ye nka say man for obi o, but our priority should be some nkrofo no first. Teachers priority, and there's nothing wrong with that. The same thing na my no ye.
Yeah.
Now Kennedy's our policy we. Where the no con offices here, Oma fill forms ni nyina de abawo. Ye input data no. Anya agro no obedi o. Wo de no to nchen and this woman here den. Me say 2016. Enye Kennedy aka santere jasam to ye. And this for election time bia omo de macho men atiti moto so di tuo be ha santere region. Obi a wa che MPP bia asem bo abusa. 2016 Kennedy na beje ye fusa how no. The man is bold, he's committed. The man is ready. The power. Now the man me dekurane and I can count almost 20 billionaires in the world. Billionaire $1 billion make. Me simen kasi say they are ready to come invest multi-million-dollar projects in this country. Obi okọ round sir area bi obedru obia na oyi niam e wo ho we na mo ye raw materials we tourism e ho hyehyɛ ni say na me ya mamo na umpe wo pedai. Kennedy's message is the best so far among all the 5.
Okay.
Odiase and a strong team e ka no na ye bom pae so na no hear the Ken's National Prison obabi enipa about 10,000 go and check 10,000 life me who be said that. Look, almost a nyuntufo akesi organ nyina dodo na aba. Hey, Emi Newman, Stella Dugan, mami we. Mama ye nyina ye nyinya mami fe cram or by mo jebi kura minim wo mo Kofi Sapon. Na wo be president do o mem. All these top musicians nyina about program. O opposition po. O mo nsuo mpo se bi aban be ka say hey, the commitment is intrinsic. Okay. Na o mpe we mpacho wo pedai woni asofo eba ho ye check asofo ni we aba me say over 300 asese asofo nko ha na wo ma hwe in life the whole Ghana UTV show no every part of Ghana look Kennedy campaign crowd ya ye just o mpe tui na obia odokesie we wo no ho wo se o mpe wo no na o pedai nyankopon so obetima ma ebuo mpo akasa asom no say nyame so obehira wa de odo obeye no enye wu nipa o we Romans 13:1 or say there is no authority except that he God raised. And ye
right. I say
time ya Kennedy aba no is purely divinity.
Right.
But the American twato enkabomu. Ye besi bia no mesiri mi nua no. Yemfa ye ho ne ye ho bone nche me de enkrofo ya mi nyina me de ache obi a se me soma fom obi da ono so mfa nche me Yanke humum because MPP will always be better than NDC. Me who are here pro-poor policy here for NDC implemented that. Omo kura anka omo dey say omo the omo aspect of social justice no a friend say to each according to one's needs. MPP the end to each according to one's work. Yen you believe in individual property owner this omo the end there. Come the end nka ohia na say omo ye. Enso omo ntimi anya mu bia o. MPP na sambe yes an ye so Ghana at all times enye we ase say ye benya asem ya. Enka Ghana de bia ye hia ye. Mesiri nwa MPP for. Yenke humum. Yen reduce sa tem didie no. Yen limit. Ni ntimi nya ne mapamwa o man. Ken Agyapong Nyankopon pempo eno de na to so. Wo se hwe mema mani so ahwesoro eho na memu afiri beba. Memu abefiri agya asafo Yehowa ontonko no ona. Ti Awurade mpo se opemwa po ani hwesoro. Na wo opemwa na de wani asifom. Se do ba hwefom.
Kotodwe
kotodwe Bekotono Tachrama Bekase Era die Oh yura Ba me sem crofo Friday be a bompai first Friday or last Friday every month but say there you born there be ntimi sro o te kam na wo drive you wo paint you wo ye den you bompa ma MPP ne Ghana na bompa ma Kennedy ohene Japan na me say Nyankopon ebe ma ne so 31st
mata facha me yebre na so but mata sister kan free he wo ye den nya sticker no
oh
107.3
me call pukuare madam fubi no friend Mr Costa because that me di papa into your favorite trigonometry mathematics so memorize maybe I na ma be gina board so make trust formulas no nze no try no apem etina sticker le bibi a sticky
okay
but him say kumasi the sticker
right
it's enya de bone
mera say
thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.